Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk to you about how you can use those moments when you're triggered as a gift, resource, and opportunity for your relationship. How you can turn those experiences into something positive for your relationship.
Yeah, this is our final managing triggers episode, 5 of 5. And we've already covered, a lot of really important and powerful stuff. Like what not to do when you're triggered. I think that was episode 1.
Yeah.
How do you
what to do?
Yeah, what to do when you find yourself triggered.
That was episode 2.
Episode 2. Thank you. Sorry. Episode 3 was how do you decrease the frequency and the impact of triggers. Last week was about how to come together as a team around triggered or when one of you all gets triggered.
And these conversations have been so good, and they are absolutely going to help you to manage your triggers better. Something that all couples struggle with from time to time. Okay, even us. So if you've missed any of this Managing Triggers series, don't worry, we've got you. Just drop a heart in the comments. You pick the heart again, and we will make sure to get you the recordings.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's dive in and talk about why getting triggered can be a good thing for your relationship and how to make it so.
Yeah.
So, you want to jump in?
Well, no. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to
okay.
steal the momentum.
That's okay. So we wanted to talk about this as kind of our final episode in this conversation, because it's one of those paradigm shifts that really has so much potential to improve things in a relationship. It's not just, as we improve our relationships, it's not just about like preventing bad or hard things from happening or like learning what to do when they do happen. It's about using our relationship to continue to grow and expand and improve. And honestly, it's our challenges and our hard spots and our bumps in the road, right? Like that are those opportunities for growth. And those moments of trigger are no different.
We learn so much more from the stuff that doesn't go well or from the mistakes that we make than the things that we're crushing in life.
Yes.
And are breezing through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, but you only if you're paying attention to it.
Yeah.
As an opportunity to learn.
Yeah. So many people don't. It's a thing that we often avoid.
Right. Because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why we wanted to talk about this today, because most of the time what we see in relationships is that when somebody gets triggered, it just like the end result of it is just another experience of conflict or another one of our patterns repeating or unresolved issues showing up once again, right? Like, here we go again.
Here we go again. Exactly.
Partners get their feelings hurt. They say stuff that they don't mean. They start feeling not only disconnected with their partner, but also like they are unsure about the relationship. Right. Like depending on how intense and how frequent your triggers are that show up in your relationship, it can lead to feeling like you have to walk on eggshells around your partner.
Yeah. And that disconnection can last, for some people it's days.
Yeah.
Right. Or it's just, you're not even sure how to be in the same space with each other for very long.
Or how to come back together after you've disconnected. And when that happens again and again and again, it starts to erode your trust and sense of security, to say nothing of like your happiness in the relationship. And you might find yourself starting to build resentment toward your partner for the way that they get triggered or the things that they get triggered about. And resentment is a really toxic energy in our relationships, friends. That's another conversation for another day. I wanted to like name that. And if you're carrying resentment toward your partner, like that's not going to serve you in your relationship.
Definitely not. It's not a helpful energy to bring.
No.
At all.
No. So usually, right, like those experiences when we get triggered, and like for a lot of couples, take something away from the relationship, right? They're not, those experiences aren't adding to it. We're not like, oh, I'm so glad we got triggered today and had a fight.
Yeah, it's rarely celebrated.
No,
As an opportunity, it's a good thing.
Yes.
It happened.
Yeah. It becomes, as Cal mentioned earlier, like something that we want to avoid, right? Except that we can't avoid getting triggered in our relationships. Like inevitably, one or the other or both of you at the same time is going to get activated by something. It's just like that's just part of trying to build and share a life with another person.
Yeah, humans having human experiences.
Yes.
So how good would it feel really to be able to turn these uncomfortable and painful experiences of triggered, right, into a gift for your relationship? Like we know it's so challenging to even imagine like shifting this paradigm, but it's also true, or at least you can make it true if you know where to look and what to do.
Right.
So when you're able to turn, your triggers into triumphs and really like looking into and receiving the gifts that they have to offer, those difficult moments really lose a lot of the negative impact that they'd otherwise have too.
Yeah.
Right. You're able to use those moments more as opportunities to look at yourself, improve your relationship, but also like become closer and stronger, more resolved, more resilient, right? More invincible in your love. So
yeah, I think, being able to do this, turn challenges into gifts, resources, and opportunities, use these tough moments as resources to grow and expand your relationship is really what sets couples who are winning at their relationships apart from those who aren't.
Totally.
And we want you to have this skill.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
Let's talk about some of the gifts that getting triggered can bring to a relationship.
Yeah. Like with anything, when you're feeling any kind of emotion, the awareness of that emotion gives you access to another choice, especially if if you're aware that the way you're feeling is negative or triggered, right? So with that awareness equals choice to feel another way, to think another thought, and in that is your power.
Yeah.
So the power formula simply,
awareness
equals choice equals power.
This is something that we teach in our program.
Yeah.
If you didn't catch that, this is a really important one, right? Like write this one down. Awareness equals choice equals power. That's a really big deal, right? And so, because like without awareness, we're like puppet people. We're just
on autopilot.
Yeah, on autopilot, being pulled by the strings of our programming and our nervous system reactivity. We're just reacting non-consciously. We're not choosing how we want to think. We're not choosing how we want to respond. Like that's not freedom. Freedom and power are about like having choice and being intentional and conscious about who we be and how we respond and how we're experiencing our life and our situations. You don't get those choices without having awareness. And so, like that is such a huge, huge piece of the gift, is that it is an opportunity for you to deepen your awareness about what's going on with you, what's going on with your partner, like what works and doesn't work between you two.
What didn't work in that particular scenario or situation.
How you can do things better. Yeah. It's like there's so many gems there when you like bring some consciousness to examining what happened.
What didn't work.
So awareness. Number one gift, I think. The awareness itself is the gift. It's the choice that you get and the power that you then gain to be able to affect your life in a more intentional way. That is the real gift.
Absolutely.
And if that trigger thing didn't happen, you wouldn't have the opportunity to necessarily gain that awareness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing you alluded to too is like learning more about your partner. And developing a level of understanding, a level of like understanding about like their perspective and how they interpreted the situation or like what's going on in their triggered state.
Mhm.
Gives you an opportunity, if you're the one that's triggered, to learn about yourself
Mhm.
and what,
Mhm.
what's activating within you, what stories, what didn't feel good.
It's like
So learning and understanding is quite a gift.
yeah, it really
Clarity.
is.
Yeah.
It's like you're creating these roadmaps
Mhm.
of your internal world and a roadmap of your partner's internal world,
Mhm.
right? And like every time you explore new territory, you go down a different path or like re-go down a path, you get to clarify more of the map.
Mhm.
And when you have that internal map, you have so like you like know where to go and where not to go and how to
Mhm.
get there more effectively. And it's just like it's so empowering
Mhm.
to have that awareness about yourself and your partner.
Yeah.
And like speaking of maps, one of the things I find it so often shows up around triggering is that um, the experience of being activated in our nervous system is like this clue, this little flag or trailhead that says like, something needing healing down this path. Follow the path and you'll find out what it is. Right? So it's like this flashing light indicating to you that there's something here that needs healing, right? That needs your attention, that needs shifting, that's not serving you. Because we understand, if you've been following us, we understand that the experience of being triggered happens because your nervous system has identified something as a threat. Right? So, like, somehow your partner, what they've said, what they've done, what just happened feels really like threatening to some part of your nervous system. Like, what's that about? And so, one of the gifts of being triggered, if you allow yourself to find it and go down that trail, is the like healing and resolution and release of baggage and stuck stuff that you've probably been carrying for a really long time.
Mhm.
And that is so liberating when you can like be like, oh, I've been carrying this belief or this expectation and it's not serving me and it's like causing all of this stuff that I don't like and I'm going to let it go now. Like, whoa. Um it's a really beautiful opportunity. And again, if you're not getting triggered, if it's not like being activated, you don't know that it's there. It just
Mhm.
kind of lies dormant under the surface until you do get triggered. And then you get the chance to find out what it is and what you need
Mhm.
to do that healing work.
Which also, I guess, in a way, helps us celebrate the frequency of getting triggered. Like if it's happening more often, like
Yeah.
that can actually be a good thing because
Mhm.
it's giving you the ability to practice more of
Mhm.
like in quick succession. Like these new awarenesses, new choices, new behaviors. 'Cause you can't
Mhm.
get good at rewiring your brain
Mhm.
or rewiring your nervous system without practicing.
Yeah.
So
I think that's like a weird problem that we have is that these days the triggers don't
it's
happen very
infrequent.
frequently.
Yeah, so we're out of practice.
And
That's
then
why
when
it's
they
like, whoa.
do, it's
Yeah.
like I need to get better at this, but and it's hard to get better at something if you're not practicing it. And our brains they are autopilot brains, right? Like our brains are lazy.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean you're lazy. I'm not lazy. Our brains are lazy. They want to shortcut through everything.
Yeah.
They want to,
Path
make
of
it.
least resistance.
Yeah. And so you're not going to be aware or you're not going to be practicing what you need to practice unless there's activation.
Mm.
And I'll also add to this, like from a scientific, biological, neuroscience kind of perspective, um, like you need the emotional energy of something in order for the like rewiring of your nerves to happen more powerfully, right? Like the more energy, the more emotional energy is between them, the stronger the connection that happens in between your neurons. Also, when you're activated and you practice like soothing your nervous system or speaking from your parts or reminding yourself that like, okay, my partner's on my side, all the other things that we've talked about, all the other things that we teach couples like to practice doing when we work with them, it you have to be in that activated state, which uses like is an activation of your emotional system, your um
Parasympathetic.
yeah, what am I thinking? I'm thinking like this part
The
of your
parasympathetic.
no, it's not your parasympathetic. It's like your amygdala, your reptile brain,
Yeah.
your emotional
No, I
brain.
thought that's what the system is
No,
called.
the parasympathetic is like the entire nervous system that gears you
Anyway, we don't have to go into
up for. I'm gonna have to do recheck my sympathetic versus parasympathetic, because now my brain feels foggy about which is which. But one is like the whole body system that gears you up for a threat,
yes.
and the other is the whole body system that calms you down after a threat.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, like this is my model of the brain. Uses the hand. Maybe I'll show you more about this one time. But so this is why I'm like doing this. Like in here on the inside of your brain, your reptilian brain, the primal part of your brain that is your fight or flight, there's your survival brain, right? It like when that part is activated, you lose access to this part of your brain, which is your cortex, right? And in particular, your prefrontal cortex, this part behind your forehead, which is where we have consciousness and decision making and like awareness. So when you're triggered, you lose access to being able to use these higher level parts of your brain. But when you are practicing calming your nervous system from activation, like into a more soothed state, and you're doing the work that we've been teaching you, that we do in our program, you actually are building neural connections between the emotional part of your brain and this higher level thinking, so that when the emotional part gets activated, you actually have more power and physical ability to bring your thinking brain back online and use that to consciously decide what you want to do next, rather than being operating from this like primal lizard brain, which isn't necessarily going to get you what you want in your relationship.
Not the reliable part of your brain.
No. So that's our little science lesson for today.
In regulating bodily function.
Yes. You want to.
It's great at that.
So, but like all that to say, right? Like the practice is such a gift. And again, you can't have the kind of practice that you need to really develop the skills unless you're applying the skills during the times that you need them.
And having those times appear.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like having an emotional experience connected with it.
Yeah, have it.
So like, yeah, that's a gift. That's a gift. You need those opportunities to grow and learn and change. What else? Looking at my notes.
I know we have
there's a lot of pieces. So I want to talk about this trust piece, because this is really important too, as a gift of being triggered. When you get triggered and you have like a conflict or a disconnection or activation, an upset in your relationship, if you can use that as an opportunity for learning and growth and come back into connection and repair with your partner, what you're doing is building trust. You're teaching yourself and your partner
and your body
and your body and their body, right? Your nervous systems, that when those triggers happen, you're not going to die, because that's really what our nervous systems think. Like, we're going to die. You're not going to die. It's okay. This separation, this disconnection is not going to last forever. They're not that bad of a threat. Like, I am safe here. It's uncomfortable, right? Like when Cal and I are in activation and we're triggered or upset, like there's a part of me that's like really annoyed because I hate being there. I'm like, when is it going to be over? Because I know that all of this upset is just moving through me, and it's going to be fine. And I'm going to be back to feeling wonderful sooner than later. Right. And so as much as I don't enjoy those experiences and they're still uncomfortable, I have a part that recognizes it's not going to ruin our relationship. And so this again takes the power out of those triggers and builds security in your relationship. Every repair repair and reconnection is more important than avoiding fights at all. Because if you've gone your whole relationship and you've never like fought or gotten activated, then you're going to be like afraid of when that's going to happen, because you're not going to know what is going to happen. It's going to be unknown territory, and unknown territory for our brains is scary. So it's like you're creating knownness, familiarity with what this feels like, and trust that you and your partner are going to be okay. And that is a really huge gift if and when you can use those triggers as the opportunity to give you that gift by coming back into repair and reconnection. Okay, so let's talk about real quick how you do this. There's just three things that we want to talk about real quick. I know I'm talking long today.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah. Do
Like,
you want to
gift
share?
from us. Yeah. Well, I mean, so the first step or thought in like how to turn triggers into gifts is like recognize that there's something that you can learn from this experience,
Mhm.
and then set your brain on the task of finding the gift in it.
Mhm.
So, answering questions or asking yourself questions like, what in me, what story, what part of me got triggered and why?
Mhm.
What worked and what didn't about like the experience and my experience? How could things be better or different next time? How did I contribute to what wasn't working?
Mhm.
And like the thoughts and stories that your brain has created about the situation, the dots it's connected, and what does that mean for me, for you,
Mhm.
around like what needs to be attended to or healed or released within your own mind and body.
Mhm.
You want me to do the second one too?
Sure.
Okay.
I talked a lot
Well,
about
I
brain
mean,
stuff.
it's
So
almost like the same thing, right? Like looking for the wins,
I don't think it's looking for the learning that feels different for me
learning and
than looking for the wins.
sure, but looking for wins. This is how we start every coaching call.
Mhm.
It's a really important thing to kind of have your brain paying attention to,
Right.
oriented towards what's going right, what's going well, and not what's not.
Mhm.
Right. So,
So
yeah.
each time that you like experience a trigger within yourself and your relationship, the
Mhm.
invitation here is like not only to be like, okay, what can I learn about this, but also to look at what went well about this,
Mhm.
right? Like what was different from this triggered or activated episode than the last one? Do
Mhm.
I have more awareness?
Mhm.
Was the activation within me a little bit less intense? Did I have a part of me that showed up that was like, oh, when is this going to be over? Because you
Mhm.
know that it's going to be over, and that's a brand new thought that you're having, right? That's a win.
Yeah.
Were you able to
Repair,
repair more
come back into
quickly
connection.
with your partner,
Mhm.
right? Where like there's all kinds of subtle shifts that we make as we're practicing and learning how to manage our triggers more effectively and how to
Mhm.
use those opportunities as learning and growth in our relationships. And we experience them more, we reinforce them, we integrate them when we recognize and acknowledge them, right? Like not just what the gifts were, but like also how did we do better? Where are we winning here?
Mhm.
And that again is like when you can use a triggered episode and see it as like, oh, look at what we did right
Mhm.
instead of looking at what we did wrong, or at least holding space for the both and. You've given such a gift to your relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I think the last piece of this is really using this as an opportunity to turn toward your partner with with your triggers, with what you're learning in terms of like the gifts in being triggered,
Mhm.
what and like being able to share and learn more about yourself, learn more about each other in like having this open dialogue
Mhm.
about being triggered in your experience, and just allowing space for that and the opportunity to really connect,
Mhm.
as part of that,
Yeah.
and repair from any fallout that happened as a result of it.
Mhm. Like I said earlier, that helps build trust and safety in your relationship. It actually strengthens your relationship
Mhm.
to have a wound that repairs, as opposed to like never having a wound kind of thing. I'll to that I'll also add in this third step of like turning toward your partner
Mhm.
after a trigger has happened, that it can be really helpful to set some intentions for what you want to do next time, right?
Mhm.
Because learning, it's like one thing to cognitively learn and like be aware of something. It's another thing to set the intention about what you're going to do differently,
Mhm.
right? Like translate the learning into an action, because it's not just what we know, it's who we are,
Mhm.
right? how we show up in our relationship. And that is a really big piece of this, that if you want this to really be a gift, set intentions with your partner for how you're going to apply what you've learned, so to speak. Right?
Well, and another helpful thing in learning about your partner is, in addition to intention, is like curiosity and expressing and utilizing curiosity, because like it's really powerful to go into a situation without judgment, without like a preconceived notion about the situation, but just like listening to understand and being curious and learning and understanding someone's experience is a whole different way to navigate a hard situation than I guess not being curious, whatever that is. So when you're with your own story and prejudice,
right? So when you're turning toward your partner, you're sharing what you learned, you're getting curious about their experience, you can learn about them, you're using it as an opportunity to repair and connect, and you're setting intentions for how to do things differently next time. Like that is huge. What a gift to your relationship. So I want to share a story real quick about one of the couples that we worked with who got really good at this. We're so proud of them. Let's call them A and B, just for funsies. So when they came to us, partner B had stepped out on the relationship, and understandably, this caused a really huge tear, like a rift in trust, a lot of triggering and activation responses, in like frequently showing up in response to a lot of dynamics in their relationship. Right? Partner A felt really unsafe, felt unloved, and felt really unsure about the relationship. Felt like partner B didn't want her, that she wasn't good enough, that that partner B was going to leave eventually. All kinds of really scary activating triggers that would show up a lot in their relationship. And so talking about anything remotely related activated those triggers and put partner A into a really primal place that resulted in a lot of pain and disconnection for both people. But as we worked together, right, we started to look at these triggers and look for the gifts in them and examine them more closely, right? Gain more awareness. And what we found is, or began to realize, is that a lot of the triggers that were happening had roots that reached back long before the affair had happened. And so with that awareness, partner A was able to start healing those like core injuries and sharing with her partner B, right? What was going on for her, where they were coming from, how partner B's reactions like further activated those triggers, what she needed from her partner. They were able to turn toward one another around it. And so this allowed the couple to support one another, and partner B could like show up with more reassurance, more sensitivity when partner A got activated, and a lot more stepping up in the relationship to like make amends for the injury that she had caused. And so what happened through time is that like these moments of activation, they both partners recognized them as opportunities to practice what they were learning, to improve their relationship, to get better at loving each other. And that's exactly what they did, such that by the end of our work together, they were able to have this really beautiful conversation about the circumstances surrounding the affair without either of them being triggered.
Yeah.
It was just like so outstanding. They had given themselves so many gifts by moving through these triggers and using them as opportunities, gifts, and resources. And this is like such a powerful, such a transformational skill to have. And we really want you to know that it is absolutely possible for you in your relationship as much as it is and has been for our clients. So if you're feeling at all pulled to do this work with us and to turn your relationship around, to like do some really life-changing healing and transformation, then we want to invite you to work with us.
Yeah, we still have 3 spots open in our high touch back from the brink intensive. So this is really, we work with just a handful of folks, and it's a lot of one-on-one, a lot of support from us.
Which is why we only work with a few people, a small handful. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, jump in now before all the spots fill up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, waiting lists aren't fun. This program, though, just for transparency's sake, is for people who are really stuck and struggling in their relationship and might be considering divorce or separation or breaking up in some kind if you're not married. But this is really for you if what you know you want is not those things, like not divorce, not separation. What you want is this relationship, but everything that you've been trying to make things better just isn't working or hasn't worked.
Right. It's like, it's what you want. You just don't know how or if it's possible.
Yep.
And like, we promise it's possible and can show you how, but you have to know that it's what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. We can't make that decision for you. You got to come in with that one.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is help you understand really what's not working in your relationship and help to teach you some of the stuff that we've been teaching in these lives.
And so much more.
And so much more, about it. Well, yeah, these powerful tools, the shifts in your mind that you can make to create like meaningful, lasting change within yourself, within your relationship. It's 90 days of intensive work. Like you said, it's high touch, it's intensive, which means we're jumping right in with a ton of support and attention on the relationship. And hopefully you're bringing the same energy, right? But we approach it through individual, like one-on-one coaching. We come together, collaborate as a team.
For couple-to-couple coaching.
Couple every fourth week. We have a transformational curriculum that's just like the foundation to just like elevating and accelerating the progress. What else?
We do accountability and action steps on an ongoing basis. So it's not just like one session a week. This is an ongoing process that centers your relationship and your growth and healing journey so that you're getting the attention and momentum building that you need for things to get better quickly. But it's a journey, and it's a healing journey, right? Like healing and transformation are not always comfortable. It's not for the faint of heart. Like you've got to be ready to really jump in and go through what might be hard and painful and scary to get to what you want. But if you're willing to bring that courage, you can absolutely get what you want in your relationship. We know that, again, you have to be committed. You have to know what it is that you want. Be really serious about making it work. We typically don't work with people who have been together for less than 5 years because what we found is there's not always as high a commitment. But if you know you've got that commitment, even if you've not been together for 5 years,
don't
let us know, and we'll talk about it. Okay. But you also have to be like, bring that courage. Be willing to do that healing, growth, and transformation journey, because that's what we're bringing you in for. That's what we're helping you through.
Part of the commitment too.
Sure.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Was also that, like, in terms of time and energy commitment, we're looking for at least 2.5 hours of a week
of availability,
of your time and availability and dedication to doing the work, focusing on and centering your relationship.
Yeah, we want to be really transparent about that because
at least
because we know that you're busy, and also I'll say that, like, we expect the pain and unhappiness and struggle in your relationship is draining a lot of your energy and sucking up a lot of your time. So you'll find that as like, if you can find the time to do the work, as your relationship gets better, you get a lot more time and energy back. So
ROI.
There's time. Very big ROI. Speaking of investment, it's $5,888 for the 90 days of high touch work with us. We would love to support you. This is our joy and our passion.
It really is.
We know what's possible because we've been there ourselves, and we look forward to hearing from you.